Hold on. Sherry, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Choke? How are everybody here in the room? Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in. I just want to say, you opened my eyes by seeing your actual live because you was right on point. But I feel like you were saying, it had to be. I think she made some kind of agreement down the line on her own free will. And it seems to be like her son being baptized may have been a trigger for either someone to come in, an agent for this gentleman's situation. How you got four wives, and why would you be living with a married couple? That just seems kind of off. And on top of that, with her and her situation, um, when she was like really having that outburst, if y'all notice, she was saying "Helter Skelter." "Helter Skelter" is a song by the Beatles that means chaos and confusion. That's, if I'm not mistaken, the same song Marilyn Manson. And when they committed that murders, they heard that "Helter Skelter" and they felt like that's what it was telling them, that Beatles song that caused him and his occult to have that murder spree. So I just wanted to include that. I think she's just going to have to either forgive herself because she needs some kind of release. She definitely, in my book, I'm a Christian, she needs some kind of deliverance, because it's, and she needs to close the door somewhere. It got to be an opening, and she definitely got to close the door. But I think she need to forgive herself because she looked like she's mentally tormented by some of the choices that she made, and maybe the oath is what kind of got her oldest son caught up. But she's gonna have to forgive herself and then start working on that. So that's my take on it. Thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Well, thank you for coming through. You can stick around, but I agree with you as far as I do know about the Helter Skelter song with the Beatles and Marilyn. Was it Charles Manson? I think it was, right? Yeah,
Charles
Charles
Manson.
Manson.
Yep.
Yeah, and so when she's saying Helter Skelter, like, man, you don't watch Jaguar for like 3 years. That word wasn't even in her goddamn vocabulary. She has never used that word. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I believe that some what that, like you said, the oath that she probably took in the industry allegedly went in one of those doors that got her the fame and the success, this, that, and the other, and then down the line, in my opinion, like Kanye, they kind of regret the decisions that they made within the industry, and now they want to go back to God or Jesus Christ. I'll say, because God for them could be Lucifer. You know what I'm saying? They they go back on what they regret the decisions that they made. Like Kanye, you'll constantly hear him say, "Oh, I lost my mother. My mother was sacrificed." Is that, hey, well, who falls that, brother? Like, you know what I'm saying? You chose to do whatever you did, and now you regret it, and you having these outbursts and breakdowns, and you telling the world your mother got sacrificed, and now you out here trying to repent your sins, but you're going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's the same thing with Jaguar on the spiritual level. She turned around and now uh she want to be a warrior for good, and now she's going against the evils, the Jay-Z's and them allegedly. And with that, like you said, you go from now you going back to God, so you already struggling with that because you know what you did to get you to fame and success, and now you regret and you repenting. But now, like you said, you turn right around, go to a baptism. Now you dealing back with this a Baptist, not even Christian, but you're dealing with Baptist, and y'all are dealing with more spiritual shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you go from a baptism to this dude spitting voodoo in your ear allegedly. You know what I'm saying? you're like spiritually, you're being pulled in directions between good and evil. You want to be good, but you don't put yourself in a position to be right around the worst type of evil or dark magic or whatever. This nigga whispering in your ear, no bad voodoo. And she like, get in the fucking car. Like she just turned to the exorcist on us. You know what I'm saying? And as scary as it was very enlightening to a lot of people because only a fool is going to sit there and deny that that was not Jaguar Wright. That was not Jaguar. I'll pull up a clip of Jaguar right now, sitting there talking, bubbly, light, and this, that, or you don't even hear that tone in her voice that came out to say, get in the goddamn car. You know what I'm saying? That's not even her tone. Her voice was deeper than mine. So her, like you said, going to a baptism and then now this, you going through mad spiritual stuff, demons and stuff, and then now boom, now you in the hospital. When she come off of all that, she's gonna be talking like the regular Jaguar we talking. They gonna be like, nah, lady, you got to pass this test. And she's not gonna know what the hell they talking about, especially if she ain't got no access to social media, to YouTube, wherever she's at. If she cannot watch and see what transpired, she probably do not have a goddamn clue what the hell she did.
And if I can interject too, Orlando Brown, or is that his name? He recently said something, what, and got arrested. So it seems to be a correlation of people when they say certain things. And it was interesting. I don't want to throw her name out there, but Suki Hana was out there crying when she went into some kind of agreement. Now you see her on another platform, big platform, with the shades on, because I think it's something in the eyes when they, when that soul connection, if you notice, Jaguar put on the shades. And I'm like, yo, this gotta be a correlation now. When y'all make these covenants, you have to wear glasses or shades all the time. And so like she was up there and I seen that today. It was like, oh, I wasn't talking about that. I just got a bad deal. And it feel like, nah, girl, the way you was snotting. And I don't knock you, because I'm quite sure some of the things these people are seeing with the threat of your children or your families, I understand it was real. And with Jaguar, she said the same day she buried her son up in Philly, it was, a situation with our family where something happened where people got shot up. It's just way too many coincidences from me. So
Well, when it when it
Keith
comes,
Murray, all of them, they talking crazy now, and it looked like they crazy.
I was just gonna say,
Please don't cut nobody off, but go ahead.
my bad, my bad.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this is important because where conspiracy comes from. So, like, I was an American Studies major in college, and I studied this stuff, coming from the neighborhood. But I wanted to learn about America. Conspiracy started in the '60s after JFK was murdered. When JFK was murdered, the United States, obviously it was a fake thing. They had a magic bullet theory, and then in '68, they said that anybody who challenged the magic bullet theory was a conspiracy theorist, and that's where that started from. So that goes all the way till today. Everybody is considered. If you're considered a conspiracy theorist, they label you as crazy. They'll find a way to oust you, but it goes through different levels. So what she's gone through is not. It's what Tupac went through. It's what everybody went through. Like, she might be acting crazy, but it's because you're gonna go crazy. You ain't got no resources, you ain't got nobody to help you. You got all the answers and nobody believes you. And you're right. All the people that thought that JFK was killed by a magic bullet, they was considered okay. But the people that came up with the conspiracy was killed. It was, made to seem as crazy. This is something that our country does. It's just seeped into our culture. That's what we need to understand.
Yeah, and they just created that so when people is telling something, that's conspiracy. Then it looks like it's a lie. It ain't no truth in it. That's the easiest way to make somebody look like they ain't telling no truth, is to say, oh, that's a conspiracy. Go ahead, Warrior Queen. Go ahead.
that um drives me nuts is like, okay, with Jaguar, she has to pick a side. You know what I mean? One of the first books I read in the Bible before I even really knew too much about the Bible was the Revelations, and the one part where it says, "Don't be lukewarm." You can't get it. You know, basically, you gotta pick a side because God will take those who lukewarm and chew you up and spit you out. That's how disgusted are most how it is with somebody who don't know how to pick a side. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be down the middle with anything in this life. You know what I mean? Even with somebody sexuality, you can't. They're confused. They, even though they think, oh, it's okay. I dip in this and dip in that. Still, they get somewhere down the line. They get confused. You know, and they're like lost. So Jag can't be when you are on a spiritual calling. And I believe that's what Jag is on. When you're on a spiritual calling, you can't be dipping and dapping and doing this and as other worldly people do. You got to walk straight. You know what I mean? You can't be doing all these drugs. You can't be doing all this drinking. If you do anything, do something natural. You know what I'm saying? And even so, you got to step away from these medicines that they be messing us up with. You got to walk straight. You can't be one moment you're doing this with your sexuality. You married, but you're inviting this person in your life and that person in your bed. You can't be doing all of that because you're inviting different spirits in your life, and then that's how you end up the way she did. You know what I'm saying? You got to always be on guard, like they say. Put the how you say, the armor of God on every single day, all day. You say in prayer when you are called. Do you see in war? Do you see our military out there just are they on guard on post when they're actively on duty like that, like in Ukraine or whatever? These people, these guys in war, do you see them falling back and dipping and doing, and or are they just focused? The ones who are really focused, or they just focused? You can't be. She gotta pick a side. You can't. She can't be. You know, and keep your circle small, small. You can't even. You see how quick her husband flipped, you know, on a situation. You can't have people like that in your life. They gotta, if they're accepting you uh, um, at your good, they accept you at your bad. That's why they call it a marriage for good or bad. You know, even her husband, and he's all over the place online, and at the same time he's calling her his wife, but burying her, telling their business. You don't do that. There's a code even in marriage. There's a code in your family. You don't do that to family. Yeah, I can understand you want to. It's like he's trying to clear something up, but then when he putting out there, oh, just if you want to give money, you know what? I get so tired of people with this money thing, especially in the church. And then they talking about have faith. What about have faith in the money bag as well? You know what I'm saying? If you really rocking, if you really rocking the way you say you are in faith, then you don't have to keep pushing that button. You see, Choke, when you on here, I watch $25, $50, and I never hear you once say, "Hey, drop a donation." Not once. I've heard you since I've been watching you, and I just started a little over a month ago. You know, and it's she got to pick a side, and when it's a spiritual war, you can't be dipping and doing it in different spirits, all these crazy ass people around you. You can't be doing that. It's just going to make you confused. You know what I'm saying? You just opening the door. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
Hold on a
I
second.
get worked up.
Hold on. Let me get Purge Diamond in here. She been waiting for a minute. I've been waiting for her to show her face.
All
What's up,
right.
sister? How you doing? Go ahead.
I'm good. Hello, everybody, and everybody in the chat. I started to believe what Jag was saying and other people was saying because I have people in my family that was about to get into the music business. One person met with someone that's doing music still today, and he's no longer here. Another person that's in the family got out of it because he said that the way the contract was written. And when I tell you, when he posted it on Facebook, I knew that what everybody was saying was true and it was real. Basically, they said in the contract basically that they were going to give him $1 million, but then they were going to take out a $3 million policy on him, insurance policy. You can go on Facebook and you can read the post yourself. So now with that being said, when Jaguar was talking, when you were talking, and other people that was saying stuff about the industry, it made me believe. But then that also made me understand that I got to get closer to God also. So, now we really, 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 really got to get to the point where we are getting back to our roots. The music is not the same. Nothing is the same. But now we just have to really get that closer relationship with God. And that's all I really had to say, and I'll just step back.
Okay, hold on for a minute. Let me get Vision, and I appreciate that. Hold on, let me get Visions in here. Visions by Anna, and that is.
It's me.
Okay, go ahead. How you doing?
Hi, I'm here in LA, and I've been part of the industry, and I know a lot of shit, and I understand a lot. I'm from Santa Monica. I've actually left LA to come to Orange County because I can't deal with the bullshit. I can't deal with the lies, the hypocrisy. I'm not that way. I know who I am, and I have a very deep story. So I just want to kind of share how I have had to gauge through the spiritual warfare. I have a way of articulating, and I'm what they call an oracle. I have elevated myself, from the time I was born. I've been very awake, and not the woke here in LA with the culture. We're talking like from the time I was a child, like everything about me, it's a long story, but I've died and came back. I know how to will myself to die, and so I've had a lot of experiences in the type of person that I was spiritually here with others. I was great on the surface until I no longer wanted to just hand you all of the answers without you participating and doing the work for yourself. So as I came through, this is how I explain it. We've been going through ascension, and as the planet has lifted itself, that vibration, you have to match and meet that energy. And if you don't, there is nobody on this planet, nobody, that is not going to go through, however you want to define it or call it word wise, so that it makes sense for you, because there really is levels and layers to this game. And depending on where your conscious, intelligence is going to allow you to have your mind so open past where it ever has been, you have to break past the byproductism. You have to understand that this is not just generations, this is lifetimes from the jump that we've got to this place, this precipice, where you have to make a choice. You have three choices. This is the way I explain it to people. So when the planet has lifted and rose itself, ascension, you have to match that energy. And the way you have to do that is you have to decide, are you going to have a relationship with yourself? If you do that, I teach 6 principles. You have to know your potential, you have to know your purpose, and you have to know your service to humanity. Once you get those 3 under you, the next wave is your individuality, your own identity, and the different forms of sovereignty. This is where you have to, it's like an onion. There are layers. If it's not just this lifetime, you have all lifetimes in this physical reality right now at the same time. And so just when you think, oh, I've cleared, I'm good, no, you will go through more. You'll go through waves. You'll go through it like the flu. The hits there, everything everyone has said, it's real, it's true, we know it, we experience it for the level of the depth of where our soul is. So where there might be things where I say, oh, that's a surface understanding or a surface reality, depending on how deep you can go, there's a lot of information to go on about this. But I also then say, listen, if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to understand that your entire existence you've been lied to, everything you thought you knew, it's a lie. And when the rug is pulled out from underneath you, in essence, you now understand that you cannot externally believe that anything or anybody is going to hold you and complete you. You were never lost. You went off the grid and you just kept going, but you can always turn around and come back to the essence of who you truly are inside. So when I explain this to the people that I see or that I speak with, I say, if you do not understand that you have survived circumstances, that's what we've done. And that has all been under conditioned love. So there's conditioned contracts, conditioned marriage. Now the pendulum has swung so far to the other side that it is unconditional, is what we have to learn. And so all the lessons through experiences, they're going to test you. Can you uphold what unconditional love means? When the ego hijacks your mind, you're left to believe and think from a hijacked state. You're taught that you can manipulate to get what you want. The culture is over time, and people and other entities and things, depending again of how are we talking on the surface, or are we going so far back? Because I can't explain to surface people where they're at and say, do you know, I heard a calling in the universe that, I chose to be here this last lifetime. This is it. I'm never coming back here again. How do I explain to an average person that I came from 2 galaxies forward, backward into this present reality, and when but you have to find a way to speak to people from wherever they are in themselves. So it's not necessarily where I'm at, because you can't teach what you don't know. And if you do, then you're lying. So you have to gauge yourself. And these people, a lot of people think, oh, as long as I just get what I want, as long as I can pay to just get what I want. How's that working for this world? Because we're literally, in law, we say this: at what point does the snake devour its own tail? We're doing it. We have done this to ourselves over lifetimes, from the beginning of existence to the point where it's not going further. Even though we've gone into transhumanism, and the final end result is they want your soul. They want your soul because they want to they don't care about your body. That's why the poison, the air, the water, the food, we all get that. They need to trap you in order for the human race to eventually or essentially be non-existent and into a whole different, reality and existence, as with AI. And a lot of people don't understand, they bring you in with the cute, like, oh, this robot's so cute, it'll be your friend, or it could be your lover, it could be all these great things. And that's true, because with anything in life, everything has a positive and a negative, but the balance is, what are you doing with it? And when you're aligned and centered, you understand, hey, if I have this idea and I go this way, I can do a lot of great things. But if I perverse and go the other way, oh, I can do a lot of negative things. So as I explain this to people here, I say, if you don't choose to know yourself, everything that you have never been able to process and digest emotionally is going to come out, and it's going to come out as an emotional breakthrough or breakdown, however you want to, use words to define. But here's the next part. If you do not get a resolution to a situation or a circumstance, and you just push it down and push it down, your chakras become blocked, all the energy points in your body. You then now take that energy and you're shoving it into your organs. So now not only you're dwindling yourself down to nothing. The problem is that you will see that you will have some who are in so much pain going through ascension and going through the transformation and trying to grasp everything that they never could and never have needed to or had to, because everybody has been tricked and duped to some degree. What happens is, though, that emotion goes into suicide, and the pain is so great they just cannot be here. And so with the cliche, you have to be strong, only the strong survive. Oh, it's very true, because when you're in the thrust of going through ascension, or you're being broken down, it is layers on layers, and it's taken me years. It is my last breakdown, my last heartbreak, my last everything started in 2015. And it wasn't until last year, maybe even this year, I could say, oh my God, I can really breathe. I can breathe. And there's a lot to the story, and I don't want to take up a lot of time, but I just want to explain the way I explain it to others so that they can try to wrap their head around something. So when you have the ones in suicide, the problem is there's another layer of that. There are those who are so angry, and I tell a lot of people that some of this is going to be more the male energy, the males. What's going to happen is they are the active shooters, and they're going to take somebody with them. You are going to feel my pain. You're going to know how bad I felt being here. So this is where I tell people, you got a choice. Everything in life, you've got a choice, and there's a consequence, good and bad, for everything. But if you don't get yourself together, if you do not take this and really understand and really go through the self relationship and get yourself right, you're fucked. The pain, we know. I can tell from just listening to all of you guys, you understand for yourself how deep that pain went, that hurt, that everything that you've never shook, and it's always stayed there. And we come from, generations of, push it down to survive. We've survived our circumstance. We have to now learn how to sustain. And that is a very different thing. And that is where you have to get rid of the ego. And everything, that you have to do. I've listened, to you guys, but the suicide and the active shooters, that is where they can't contain it, and some will just take themselves out, and they've got to breathe. Their soul, it is hurting so bad to be here, but they don't understand. In a human form, you have gravity, and when you have gravity and emotion, you're stuck in this, to a depth and a degree. But if you could understand outside of that how different you would feel, but you can't, because you're so caught up and you're so tormented inside. But if you don't have somebody to try to help you, we have all these systems that are destroying people. They've destroyed the individual, they've desensitized, they've disconnected and divided every one of us in some way, to where we're a shell of who we were, and you have that choice. Like, I've got to know what I don't know. Like, why is this happening? Why can't I make things work? Why is my life in shambles? Because we could easily say, well, it's their fault, they're doing all this stuff. Okay, well, the whole world's going through a lot of stuff, but what are we doing individually, not collectively? Because we feel that's external, but internal. You have to go in, and that relationship with yourself, and how I broke down the 6 principles. But I say, listen, if you don't understand how it gets stuck inside of you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and understand the easy concepts of how to gauge or negate anything, then you're going to be stuck in your head and trying to get out emotionally. Some can't, and we can't blame those who choose to go. But there's another aspect where people are taking you out, because I've been watched. I have a background that I've been watched. I stay alone. I shut the fuck up, because I don't want to hear all the rhetoric. I don't want to hear the shit. I know what's out there. I know who's out there. I know why I could only get so far in the industry, and they knew I was good. They knew. I've got lots of close people, but I'm like, nah, that's okay. That's you. This is me now. I'm just going to be quiet. I'm going to do me. I'm going to get me right, even though I know I've always been right, but I'm really going to finish this out right for me, and but with the active shooters and the suicides, the active shooters, they are so angry that you are going to pay, and they're going to take you out, and you're going to feel that pain and understand. So I just wanted to intercede and add a little bit of who I am and what I know, and I just appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you, because I can't deal with this world. I'm always like, what do you know? And I gauge people by where they're at, and then I can be on that level. But the breakdowns, no matter how spiritually solid we are, we're still here. We're still feeling the impact by what we're allowing, or what we're a part of, So I get it, and I just want to say thank you for letting me be here, because I needed a moment to just bleh.
Well, I appreciate you. Just stay there. Lady Legend, what's up?
No joke. What's up,
How you
Cam?
doing?
I just wanted to add a little bit into it.
Go
What
ahead.
everybody have to recognize is what the world is about is it's all phases in life. You understand me? And people are here to be of a positive influence or a negative influence. And when you are gifted and you shift from the industry, you have to have your guards up. Like, I'm gonna give an example. I don't know if y'all know who Shock G is, but Shock G, he started talking about the industry. He started talking about Tupac, and he was a very deep-minded individual. Next thing you know, they said Shock G was found in his hotel, died off of fentanyl. Gangsta Boo died off of fentanyl. Well, people are here to be of a positive influence and negative influence. And I think what happened to Jaguar Wright was she wasn't on her game. When she took that brother down to Shreveport, Louisiana, do you know what goes on in Shreveport, Louisiana? My mother is from Shreveport, Louisiana. And you have to be very, very careful of where you go, who you talk to, who you let have access to you. When you know that you are up against the industry, you have to be careful of who you let have access to you. You have to be mindful of these things. So she took that brother down to Shreveport, and I believe that she was getting into it with this young lady online. I won't say her name, but she already threatened her with some witchcraft and voodoo. And I believe she let the wrong people get access to her. And that's what happened. So in this world, you have to be mindful that people are here to be a positive influence or negative influence. And if you allow somebody to have access to your soul and you don't know their agenda, that's where you messed up at. And I have bad lightning. Hopefully y'all can hear me, but I wanted to get this across because you guys are forgetting that she took this man down to Shreveport, Louisiana. For what? For what? What did they go down there for? He homeless. What was their intention on going down there? What were they even doing together? Her husband is on all these platforms, but he not saying what their agenda was when they went to Shreveport, Louisiana. He also mentioned that him and Jag got a reading from this Solar guy. So if they got a reading from this guy, why would you allow this man to tap into your soul and you didn't know his intention?
I agree with you with that. And I know people that live down in Shreveport too, and it's like a big ass voodoo area.
Yes.
Allegedly, I don't want to put that
Because
on
I
everybody.
remember I went down there and I got some beads. I got some beads from this lady. Like she was like, oh, it's a rosary cross, and she gave it to me or whatever. And my mom, she used to sing for Minister Louis Farrakhan. We was from Mosque 27. Salam alaikum for anybody that's Muslims in the chat. But I got knowledge on that, you know, and I got these beads and I was like, I'm not really feeling these beads. It's not really spiritual for me. I feel some negative energy. I gave the beads to my ex-boyfriend. 2 years later, my mother was murdered by a KKK whose grandfather is the mayor in Alabama. You got to be careful, man. You got to be careful. My mother was a jazz singer. She used to sing for Minister Louis Farrakhan, did his gazelle frames because she was optician. And my cousin is in the industry right now. Brittany B, she was on Love and Hip Hop. All these girls, they tell them, you have to be a sex symbol. You got to get your body done. She got her body done. You know, she has to exclude sexuality. So a lot of women who have a mind, who have a voice, they are pushed out of the industry because you don't got sex appeal to offer. We want to make these girls turned out. We want these city girls and to be traded as hotties and you know what I'm saying? Sluts, you know what I'm saying? That's what they're pushing off because they don't want black women or women to be seen as queens. They want them to use their body. So you got a lot of prostitutes. You got a lot of human trafficking. Where does that come from? The agenda of the industry. That's why you got them pushing Lil Durk and all these, you know, murderers and all this because it's an agenda. So it goes back to what I said. You have to know people's motive before you get involved with them. I'm disappointed in Jaguar. She spoke like she was a lioness, like she was a queen, like she was a goddess, like she was smart. But if she was that smart, she wouldn't have let this man have access to her. Her husband, I'm married. My husband don't let everybody have access to me. You can't just come to our crib and chill and spend a night, whether you home girl, family, or not. What is your motive on trying to come spend a night with me and my husband? Because we not swingers. So we have to ask this question before we go into society because you could make the wrong move and then there goes your life. She's not going to come back the same like Choke is saying. She's not. They are messing with your mind. Cat Williams, if you pay attention, Cat Williams made a joke about it. He was like, I went to the crazy home and I recognized I wasn't crazy at all. You got people talking to themselves, but he didn't say, what did they give you when you was in that crazy home that made you stand down and stop talking about the industry? What did they give you, Cat? What did they give you, Dave Chappelle? What are you guys not seeing here? When they killed Shock G and said that he died because of fentanyl, that told me everything I need to know. So we got to wake up and we got to stop being in denial. And you got to ask somebody, open your mouth and say, what is your agenda? What's your agenda?
And the husband did say, because I seen one thing where him and Solar was on the same thing at the same time, and they was arguing, but he said that that Jaguar wanted to bring Solar into their bedroom.
I believe that man is like, he was with it too. But the thing that everybody is not understanding is, because I watched that brother. Like I said, I'm married. And he said, yeah, Solar did a reading on me and Jaguar. Why would you let him tap into your soul like that?
Yeah, and who is he to be doing the reading on anybody?
And why were you desperate? Why wasn't she thinking like, hold up, I don't need no reading. I don't need nobody tapping into my frequency and getting into my chakras because I am guarded right now. I know people are after me. So when Whiskey Film said that, I got chills and I'm very intuitive. Like I knew my mama was about to get murdered by KKKs before she got murdered. And I told her, don't go take my sister to work. She did, and she got murdered. So when she said that about Erykah Badu, I felt it, because when I was watching Jag one day and she spoke on Erykah Badu, I said, ooh, she shouldn't have said that. When you know people are involved with spirituality and they are doing certain things, what you gonna go and poke the bear for, and you know you don't have any protection? She was being so egotistic and just boastful that she didn't recognize. Listen, don't say everything that you know. If you notice, guard yourself. And if I was to ever talk to her, I would let her know, you put your son in jeopardy. Number one. You put your son in jeopardy. Number one. Number two, you threw those ashes. You was acting like a fool. And all this happened after y'all came from Shreveport, Louisiana, after you let this boy Solar do a reading on you. Yes, she needs to get rid of her husband. He weak. If y'all men don't protect y'all, you weak. Get rid of him. You women need to know your position. You are a queen. He is the head. He is supposed to lead you. And if you cannot count on your husband to protect you, you are in the wrong union. I speak for the women that got self-respect. I speak for the women who know who they are. I speak for the women that don't mind standing up. But you don't go to every fight not knowing what your opponent's status and record is. That's foolish.
You are 100% right. I ain't got no rebuttal for what you're saying. Hold on for a minute. Sherry B, go ahead.
No problem. Go ahead, Sherry.
Saying from when I heard from the Sun interview, apparently wherever it is in Louisiana, Shreveport is not that far from, like 3 hours from Houston. And I mean, not Houston, Dallas. And they were going to celebrate at a restaurant. I think Jag and her husband frequent. Apparently they have some connections in that area about them launching. I think she's supposed to have a podcast or something on Roku, if I'm not mistaken. That's what she was saying. But from my perspective,
yeah, it's a channel on Roku.
On Roku, I'm not judging, but apparently it's some financial struggles there. And I'm a content creator on YouTube. I don't understand how, with the information that she was giving out, it was no way that she can capitalize on that herself personally than going on these other platforms. But from my impression, people get paid to come on people platforms. So I wondered, on some of these platforms she was being invited to, I think it was compensation in that situation. So I'm just gonna, from what I'm detecting, it was some financial troubles, I think, there on constantly keeping income coming in. And don't forget, Cho, you can correct me on this. It seems to me that industry seems to select people with a certain past and broken people. It don't seem, from the stories I'm hearing, people are all together. Listen to Crazy Bone and also Wise Intelligence today. They were talking about the plan on how the industry had a meeting in 1991 to push gangster rap, because if you know Poor Righteous Teachers, I'm from Jersey, they from Trenton. It was a whole different consciousness in the music there, but this is not. That's why I can't say this is just knowing self. A lot of this is an agenda being pushed on you purposely, and they're looking for people with talents, but with a certain desperation that is there. And I'm not knocking anybody, but she was saying that it was her grandfather either killed her grandmother. It was something I had heard her said, that it was some past issues in her childhood. So a lot of this can lead to situations that lead people to a desperation when you coming out of poverty. You know what I'm saying? that's a lot of people feel like they have to get it. And then on top of that, she I noticed, I just seen on the reel, she was on a Coca-Cola commercial with the Roots. So apparently it was a level of success. And she seen this year it was a lot of frustration, and she had, it got to be a little truth in something somewhere, because talking about Big L, that gentleman has been gone for a minute, maybe a good 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. And she seemed to connect something with her son in connection to Rock Nation. But y'all, if y'all paying attention, Bobby Schmurder got an issue, Tory Lanez, you know what I'm saying? There's an issue. What she brought up with Jay Prince and Meg The Stallion is the contract with the Prince family. And it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot of dots. I don't know all, can't say all is true. And then I think you mentioned Cat Williams. Cat Williams said, and his children got taken. He got like adopted children, DCF, I mean, or with Child Protective Services. So a lot of this is not by being weak. I think it might be some things in play that is more threats against your family. So I think, you know, taking a lot of that into consideration, I think that that was kind of her issues that got her trapped up. But why? Nobody explained why that grown behind man with 4 wives was up in their house. Now that was that they got to connect from me. I don't.
Well,
I
let me just reiterate. I didn't call her weak. I didn't say that. What I said was you need to know people's motive. Now, women could get offended by what I'm saying, but I hope a lot of women take heed to this. You're supposed to know whoever's around you, their motive. Period. That's period. You will get yourself in a lot of danger if you don't know who you're going to meet with's motive. Period. And what I'm saying is, we all know what the industry is pushing off. Look at what's on TV, what's on the radio. Sex is selling, violence is selling. But what I'm saying is, if I know that I'm a target, I need to know who I'm meeting with's motive, because I'm putting everybody in danger. And when you go and get spiritual readings from people, you need to know the reader's motive. People can put bad things on you. People can curse your life, your offbringings, your future. So it is nothing wrong with understanding a person's motive deep down in your soul before you go and meet up with anybody. That's just my opinion.
I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead. You can say it. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, I was saying everybody on the panel kind of has the same idea, which what Sherry was saying makes a lot of sense. The reason why people are able to get caught up by the industry is because they have something that's going on with them that allows someone to tap into it to make them come over. If you look at it, there's not a lot of celebrities. There's more of us than there are of them. There's a reason for that. So when you talk about gatekeeping, it's very easy to gatekeep something when there's only a certain amount of people that are let in the door. And if you can prey upon somebody's insecurities or whatever they have going on, it's very easy to get them in the door. What happens after that is not up to them. It's not up to Rock Nation. It's not up to any of those. You already let yourself in that door, so whatever happens to you, happens to you. Do you have enough to survive, to get up to that level of certain people whose names I ain't gonna name, but they up there with Jay? You know, those are the people that can swim. You know, if you can't, you're gonna get wiped out. That's how I look at it.
Can I say something really quick? Is that okay? Okay. I was gonna say, with regards as to where Jag is. I lived in Dallas for 10 years. I went to college there my first time. She would be at Parkland Hospital if she is on a 5150 hold. And if not, she definitely will be like arraigned by tomorrow morning, like 8 a.m. in front of a judge if she's holding downtown. But Parkland would be the hospital that she would have been taken to, and DeSoto is in Dallas County. So it's like saying it's a suburb. Cedar Hill and DeSoto are like a suburb, but out there it's kind of like you got a city and a cow pasture. So it's not like LA, where we have mountains and beaches and everything. But I just wanted to add that that's where I believe that she would be at, either those two places.
Yeah, the thing I want to know is, I got you whiskey right after this. The thing I'm wondering is what they're going to charge her with. Is she going to be charged with assault? Is she going to be charged with terroristic threats? Is she going to be charged with it's either going to be assault and terroristic threats with the I'm gonna bomb this place, I'm gonna murder that I think those are the only really two charges that she can have outside of maybe trespassing and disorderly conduct.
I'm down here in Texas. They do have some strange laws. Like I'm about you can actually fight even if the cops is there and you say it's mutual combat. Like, so I'm not really quite sure, but they can run down on you too at the same time. So I don't know if her husband is going to pursue it far as charges.
No, her husband said he didn't call. He said somebody else called. He said he wouldn't call the police on her.
But he looked like he was attacked. So I don't know if it's going to be a domestic violence situation and she might really have to ride the wave because it really looked like she had a psychotic break. I can't believe she was just putting ashes on her face. I'm just going to think the good part of it too. I think at that point, I'm with you, Joe. That was a demon. Okay. I just don't think she was in her right mind. I don't know if she have came to herself even in this point, because down in, like the young lady was saying, in Shreveport, they was eating with this brother. Now, anybody that know anything about certain things and consuming things behind folks, we saw lives with her drinking with him and somebody else, and that could have been the catalyst. You know what I'm saying? Consuming things. So I don't know where her mind state is, but as you can say like what you were saying, is more concerning her being in a medical facility at this point, because people can give you anything on an IV. I just pray that she make it out. I pray that she have her mind. But looking at Keith Murray the other day, a lot of these people, every time they get in, I don't know what's going on.
Let me tell you about Keith Murray real quick.
Please tell me about that one.
Keith Murray used to be a dust head, a PCP head. I think that dust is PCP. But he was from a group called LOD. LOD is Leaders on Dust. Lost on Dust. Them niggas was dust head. I think they in LA, they call it Sherm, right? Yeah, so he's a dust head. So, or he used to be a dust head, excuse me. He used to smoke dust. So the reason why Keith Murray talks the way he did, he could be straight sober right now. But he used to be a dust head. If you know any people that, like I know people in New York, I grew up in the Bronx, they used to smoke dust. I seen a dude when I was in elementary school, probably like third grade, jump off the roof. And like he was high on dust, jumped off the roof, boom! We go out to recess to play, you can see his body print in the grass. You know what I'm saying? But Keith Murray was a dust head. So that's the effects of the dust long term. That's why he's like the way he is now. Let me get whiskey in here because you've been.
So yes, so I just want to say, I'm learning a lot from everybody's wisdom, and I'm thankful that we're all coming together to share, to uplift through knowledge. Now, remember, I told you that I met Nature Boy and his members. So I just want to clear up one thing. Solar, he's saying he got 4 wives. He don't got no 4 wives. You can only be married once. He dated these people, and he's not dating them no more. That doesn't mean they got 4 wives. These so-called wives don't even want to be with him. So we gotta clear up that narrative. But I digress.
Now, a lot of these people in the industry, they get down with these groups because a lot of them don't even want to go back to the hood. They probably couldn't even survive, you know. And a lot of them, once they got a taste of that fame, they can't see them going back to a normal life, getting a regular job, this, that, and other, because then they feel like they has-beens now. They didn't make it. They haven't. They just don't want to basically go back to that life because they can't face. It would look like a failure even after 20, 30 years. We know, like, you're not selling no records no more, this, that, and other. Like, allegedly, like Fat Joe. Where you think Fat Joe is getting all this fucking goddamn publicity out of nowhere, and this nigga ain't have a hit record, a hit TV show. This nigga don't have a hit show. He's on Instagram Live, but you see him everywhere like broken glass. Because allegedly, he succumbed to that. Same thing with Fabulous. All of a sudden, Fabulous wanted to start dressing like Fruity. You know what I'm saying? It started with him giving Little Nas X the award. Right after that, everything went to him. That was like, you could see he's being initiated. Well, you know, Fab don't want to give Little Nas X no goddamn award. None of us would. I would. Niggas tell me, yo, Choke, we gonna have you at the Grammys, but you gotta give Lil Nas X this award. Hell no, I'm not. Because I'm co-signing what he's doing by me doing that. So when you see these people, all of a sudden they getting all this publicity and all this stuff out of it. Like right now, Drake just came out and said Fab was his favorite artist. That's part of promoting Fab for Fab doing whatever they want Fab to do. You know what I'm saying? Fab was uncomfortable with Diddy talking about, yo, I want to party with you alone. I want to party. You ain't party with me. Oh, that nigga he was shivering in the seat. Now the nigga ain't say bars with the nigga. Right after wearing the pink boots, right after wearing the girl fur, right after doing the shit with Lil Nas X. It's too blatantly obvious now when niggas do it. Because we've been in the game 30 years. Bro, you cannot go talking about you a real dude or a straight up nigga and then turn around, you cross-dressing. We watched you your whole career. So when you seeing these dudes and all of a sudden they everywhere, they popular, this, that, and nah, they succumb to that shit. They gave in to that shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't be fooled. Nigga ain't got no hit record out nowhere. Nigga ain't got a hit movie out nowhere, but you everywhere. And everybody that's down with the shit is now your friend. Now you getting into all these parties. Now you next to this person. Man, we know what it is. It ain't, you cannot hide it no more. Nigga, they selling their souls for riches on earth. And then they'll turn around and say, oh, yeah, that nigga choked on, he's a bum. He's a bum. Yeah, but I ain't sucked no millionaire, billionaire niggas cock to be in the circle, nigga.
Salute.
I'll be broke, bum ass nigga, all I want. But your spirit is broke, nigga. Your spirit ain't got a dollar. You broke. God damn it. Lady.